What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer. With a new year comes a whole 12 months of new Overwatch content, and to kick everything off, we have the 2020 Lunar New Year event. While admittedly one of the less popular events for many people, it'll still be chock full of new skins and other content to help hold players over until they finally release Echo. So today, I'm going to talk about the upcoming New Year event, its start date, who's likely to be getting new skins, and much, much more. So without further ado, let's get into it. As always, let's start with the start date. Despite being based on a real-world holiday, the Lunar New Year event dates are actually a bit trickier to pin down than those of Halloween or Christmas. The reason being is that the real-world Lunar New Year holiday dates change from year to year. Being based on the lunar calendar as opposed to the Gregorian calendar, which has become standard for most Western societies, the actual Lunar New Year can take place anytime between January 21st and February 20th. And historically, we've seen Blizzard vastly change the dates of the corresponding Overwatch event to match whenever it's taking place in any given year. Therefore, in order to figure out the dates for 2020, we're gonna have to find out when the IRL Lunar New Year is gonna be dropping. Now, if you wanted to, you could just observe the moon and carefully track its phases to deduce the Lunar New Year date for yourself. I'm sure that doing so would carry some degree of self-gratification, if you're into that sort of thing, but for the rest of us, we have the wonderful gift of Google to figure it out for us. And according to the almighty hoarder of data, the 2020 Lunar New Year starts on Saturday, January 25th. Excellent. So, what does that mean for the Overwatch event? Well, despite knowing the real-world holiday date, it's still going to be difficult to pin down an exact start date for the Overwatch event. Historically, Blizzard has been, let's say, sporadic when it comes to the event actually starting. In 2019, it started 12 days before the IRL holiday, in 2018 it was 8 days before, and in 2017 it was only 4 days. Now, the overly observant members in the audience may have noticed that the event has started on January 24th twice so far, and thus assume that it may be starting on that day again this year. However, that would set the event to start only a single day before the actual New Year. Many festivities for the real-world holiday run for several days, if not weeks, prior to the New Year, so it would make far more sense for Blizzard to push the event forward a bit and have it start earlier this year than it ever has before. Additionally, January 24th is a Friday, and as it's proclaimed in the Gospel according to Jeff, thou shalt only start Overwatch events on a Tuesday or Thursday. So the more realistic dates to consider are these 2 weeks here, with January 16th and 21st specifically being the likely bets for this year's Lunar New Year event start date. It's also worth noting that in the past, Blizzard has extended the event past the typical 3-week runtime on the grounds that, since many people travel during the holiday season, making the event a bit longer gives players more time to play it. In 2018, the event was extended an entire extra week, and in 2019, it went about half a week longer. So whether or not they're going to extend it again is kinda up in the air, and if they do, it's hard to say exactly how long it'll go. At the minimum, we can expect 3 weeks, but it would be nice to see them give players just a bit more time for the event again, like what they've done previously. Now, let's get on to the buttery, juicy cream filling of all Overwatch events, and that's new hero skins. Which heroes can we expect to be blessed by the benevolent hand of Jeff this time around? In order to find out, let's head over to the skins chart to see who is in most need of getting something new. While many of you may recognize this chart I've put together from previous event videos, I've actually updated it slightly to better track the score of which heroes are most in need of a new skin. By tracking their total number of event skins, time since last event legendary, and the number of events there have been since they were added to the hero roster, I can calculate a more accurate ranking of who needs something new. Non-negative scores are the ones to take note of, with higher scores indicating a higher new skin likelihood. From just the numbers alone, there is one hero who vastly sticks out from the others, and that's Symmetra. She hasn't had a new legendary event skin since Winter Wonderland Wonderland 2018, and overall only has 4. So she for sure is a prime candidate when looking at Lunar New Year 2020. After her, we have a few likely candidates, being Bastion, Junkrat, Baptiste, and Lucio, followed by Brigitte and Mercy as somewhat likely candidates. I will note that despite Mercy getting a score of 1, I ranked her as having a score of 0 to offset the fact that she just recently got a legendary as part of her mini event in November. While this doesn't completely invalidate the possibility of her getting a new skin in January, it realistically lessens her odds, which is why I lowered her rank here. I do realize that Symmetra also got a new skin as part of the BlizzCon 2019 virtual ticket, but given the tremendous paywall that skin was locked behind, I don't consider it to be influential to the same degree as the free Mercy skin, which could be unlocked by anyone simply by playing the game. I will also mention though that, as always, there is no guarantee that these ones will be the exact heroes to be getting new skins. Blizzard is notoriously unpredictable, and more than anything else, it usually comes down to just whichever skin ideas they have for whichever heroes and which events they feel best fit those ideas. We could easily see someone I haven't marked here getting a new skin, but from a statistical standpoint, these are the likely candidates. Additionally, recent events have had a total of about 4 to 5 new legendary skins each, but since Lunar New Year has historically been an event that gets fewer skins than the rest for whatever reason, I'd recommend only getting your hopes up for probably 4 new ones this time around. In addition to those legendaries, we'll get 3 new epic skins, each available through the weekly challenge system where you need to get 9 wins in any game mode each week in order to unlock them all. It's unclear how this will work if Blizzard ends up extending the event past 3 weeks like how they've done in the past, but again, we'll just have to wait and see if that's even something they end up doing this year. Moving past skins, we can also expect a handful of other cosmetic items as well. We'll get a total of 3 new emotes and highlight intros, the latter of which will somehow still not be for Sombra, some fireworks themed victory poses, some new player icons with at least 1 for each new epic and legendary skin, as well as an assortment of voice lines. There will also be some new sprays with at least 2 each for both Baptiste and Sigma, since this is their first Lunar New Year event. Beyond cosmetics though, the next thing to take note of for Lunar New Year 2020 is the limited time game modes. At this point, it's pretty par for the course to not actually get anything new in this regard, but then again, much to everyone's surprise, we did get the new May Snowball Deathmatch mode for Winter Wonderland 2019, so I wouldn't wholly rule out the possibility of another simplistic mode like this being introduced for the New Year event. Even if we don't get a new mode, however, we can expect to still get another season of competitive Capture the Flag. Starting in 2018, we've had a new competitive season each year up until now, so there's no reason not for Blizzard to add another comp season again this year. There might even be some new achievements for both it and the regular CTF mode, as we did get a couple of new achievements and corresponding sprays for the recent May Deathmatch mode in Winter Wonderland. Overall though, there's not a whole lot to expect here, so I wouldn't really recommend getting your hopes up for anything huge in particular. Another thing to note though is map reskins. Once again, there's probably not a whole lot to expect here. Lunar New Year hasn't really had much in the past when it comes to event themed maps, as the Lijiang Tower map just had some additional decorations scattered around, and while the Lunar Busan map did go so far as to change the time of day, it was only on the downtown and sanctuary points and isn't even part of the standard quick play and competitive modes. Additionally, if Blizzard were to reskin another map to add into the event, there aren't a whole lot of locations left for them to choose from. The vast majority of Overwatch maps don't fit within the real-world countries which largely celebrate the Lunar New Year, so there isn't much they could really do about that. They of course could always just take a random other map and stick some fireworks and decorations on it to make it just look more generically festive, but I don't foresee them going all out with decorating any map in particular. So once again, it'd be nice to have something new added here, but probably isn't something we should be getting our hopes up for. Before I wrap things up though, it's also worth considering what sort of skin theme we may be getting this year for the event. We've seen many of the past Lunar New Year Year event skins fit into some kind of yearly theme based on traditional Chinese stories, such as Journey to the West and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So it seems like there's a fairly good chance of Blizzard doing this again and designing skins based on characters from some other Chinese novel or folklore. In fact, they may even shift to making the bulk of the new skins based on some kind of Korean mythology instead. We've had a handful of Korean skins so far, but it'd be interesting to see Blizzard lean even further in this direction and explore some more of the Korean culture in greater depth. Unfortunately though, I am far from educated on East Asian mythology, stories, and folklore, so if you're more knowledgeable on possible characters who could be making an appearance as New Year skins, be they from China, Korea, or any other country, then please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Even if you aren't knowledgeable, then hey, I'd still love to hear your ideas for other possible event skins, so be sure to comment those as well. And with that, thank you all for watching. I'll be doing a separate skin ideas video later for the upcoming event, where I look at some cool ideas and artwork for possible skins we could be getting. So in the meantime, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and share it with a friend if you really liked it. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit up the bell to never miss any of my future Overwatch content. This is Master Ian Gamer signing off. I hope you're as excited for the new year as I am, and until next time, have a great day.